Hi, welcome to Soulful Pathways, and I'm Janine. This week's Tuesday TeaThyme newsletter is in regard to transitions, and especially yoga. But I'm going to talk about qigong, I'm going to talk about meditation, and I'm going to talk about some other activities as well, like walking or running or weightlifting, kind of those kinds of things. Even raking outside and gardening, all those types of activities. And I want you to think about the transition, the space between when you start to get into a pose and when you end the pose, or from pose to pose. So say you're working on cat-cow to child's pose, or say you're working on mountain pose to warrior one pose. Where does the pose begin and where does the pose end? Or is the whole entire process the transition? And is the whole entire process just one big meditation? So I want you to stop and I want you to think about that. How you value your practice, how you envision your practice. Do you rush through just to get to the pose and hold the pose for a breath? Or do you really think about where your feet are, where your body is in space, where your foundation is? So my challenge to you is really beginning to think about the transition as part of the pose. It has a life of its own. And in qigong, it's the same thing. It's the same when you're moving from pose to pose or movement to movement. Where does it begin and where does it end? Can you enjoy the whole entire process? So think about that when you're in qigong and we're doing heaven and earth, one arm up towards the sky and one hand down towards the earth, heaven and earth. Do you think you're only in the pose when your arm is up in towards the sky and the other hand down to the earth? Or do you think you're in the pose the whole entire time with the transition, all of it? All of it is part of the pose. All of it is. And in meditation, when you inhale and there's that slight little pause, and exhale, the slight little pause, it's all part of it. So begin to really find your awareness with the transition. And maybe even when you're taking a walk and you're walking from point A to point B, it's all part of the journey. It's all part of who you are, where you're going. Just putting that one foot in front of the other. But enjoying every step that you take. Not just trying to get there, but really beginning to enjoy your work, your walks, your gardening, all of it, beginning to enjoy all of life, what has to offer, all of what life has to offer. So I hope you're enjoying the Tuesday TeaThyme, and I look forward to having you part of our community. Namaste.